Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, the Eclypsium Roadmap. My name is Melissa Russell, and I'm going to be the host for today's webinar. Before we begin, I just wanted to go over a few housekeeping items. We are recording today's session, and we will be making a copy of the slides as well as a link to the recording available here in the next day or so. If you do happen to have any questions during the presentation, please go ahead and throw them into the Q&A box, and we'll save a couple minutes at the end if we need to address questions. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our speaker. I am joined here today by Joe Hopp, who is our Senior Technical Product Manager here at Eclypsium, and he will go ahead and get started on showing you the roadmap. Go ahead, Joe.
Thank you, Melissa. Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Joe Hopp. I'm a Senior Technical Product Manager at Eclypsium. I've been with Eclypsium for 3+ years now, and this has been a really exciting release. And let's just dive into it. First things first, let's just kind of go over some legal stuff before. So you know, we're going into future talks. So this means these are all plans, not commitments, and we could change them as needed to meet the market demands or your demands. This is also only for customer information or potential customer information. So no distribution without our consent. Elsewise, let's go ahead and get on with this. One of the things we've been doing here at Eclypsium is with these product roadmaps, we've been talking about a theme of 3. And I'm displaying here Legos because this is something I've used in my career as a PM, because when you look down and you have to break your stories, your features down to the smallest modular component you can. That way you become scalable. When you're building with Legos, you have to have a plan. It has to be a detailed plan. You need to know where everything goes. Next, when you take these pieces, you take your plan, and then you got to execute on that plan. And that execution is really important because you have to follow the steps to make sure you get all the pieces in the correct space and spot. So at the end of the day, you'll get a design like here in the middle, a Jeep Gladiator. But from there, what really is interesting about being a product manager and doing this and Legos is you take these modular pieces and then they become innovative because you can reuse them. They become this grand castle you see on the right, where you can see a lot of the pieces were used over and over, but in certain sections, they've actually changed from a black to a light green. And this allows us and a product to really start to meet the market needs and really help our customers obtain their goals and help them be successful. So the agenda for today, we're going to go over what we have going on now, what we're going to do next, and what we're looking at for the future. And these are all things we're constantly evaluating and improving on. Let's get into the now. Now, since the last time we've done a product roadmap, we've actually are going to have 2 releases. We released 3.7, and coming out here in the next couple weeks will be 3.8. And you know, one thing to note, 3.8 is a long-term support. So this is really designed for our on-prem or offline customers, and this will be deployed to your environments. All right, let's dig into some of the, now, just so everybody knows, I'm not going to go over all the features that we have done in 3.8 or 3.7. I'm really just going to highlight some key things and really display some of the big value we're bringing to you guys. Now, you've heard throughout the last couple of roadmaps, we're doing this big React migration, really improving our front end. We're done. With 3.8, we are done with this. And now you're going to get to a very consistent UI that is intuitive and easy to use. And what we're doing in this one, I'm showing you in the example of what we've done to our asset details page. Instead of having information in different spots, it's now consolidated into an easier format to view, understand what is going on within that asset. Knowing how the components of our supply chain integrity are affected and their status. What is good? What is bad? What's suspicious? And it's very easy to see this. On top of that, we've done a very good job of consolidating the information into the second line of where are these problems residing. You get a quick high overview of, do I have any misconfiguration? Where are my vulnerabilities? Do I have any threats? What version of firmware and what's the newest one? Then from there, you see the tab below that where, with the highlight on versions and updates and vulnerabilities. You can click on that and focus on the details you need to accomplish the task. If you're looking at vulnerability management, you're going to go to a page like this, where now you just get to review what you need to for vulnerabilities and make decisions to help protect your organization and reduce your risk. Speaking of reducing risk, one of the things we've added to our product, which is very helpful to security professionals, is the EPSS scoring system, or probability. What this is doing, if you don't know what EPSS is it allows us to sit there and say, this vulnerability has a high probability of being exploited due to the age of the vulnerability, and or there's another vulnerability very similar that attack could be brought over to this vulnerability very easily. So it's a very similar attack vector and is easy to implement. If you want more details, please go to the EPSS site, first.org, and they have the full how this is implemented, what it takes to get these scores. But at the end of the day, we've added these scores as another informational point. So when you look at your vulnerabilities, you can make the best decisions for your organizations on what you need to remediate and when you need to remediate them. Another nice thing we've added to our product is these informational pop-ups. What these are is, throughout our product, we have a set of terminology and a set of definitions that, how do I understand what we define as firmware reputation? What is a runtime asset behavior? Why is it passed? Or you'll see a question mark where next to a trusted in the asset list, saying, hey, we're flagging this as trusted, but due to a configuration made in your integrity policy, this does not match our normal definition. Then you can go in here, you can see, hey, for firmware reputation, we're checking this against our reputation database, saying that we don't see this coming from the vendor. And on top of it, there's something unique about it that we are unsure of, and it makes it very suspicious to us that it needs further investigation. Is it the vendor did something unique on this firmware, or it was something implanted? We don't know. We don't have enough information. And this is where allows you to direct your focus on what you need to pay attention to in your environment. Going on, one of the biggest things we've done is we have improved our asset discovery capabilities in our end scan. What we can now do is, when we deploy our end scanner to your environment, we can do an asset discovery scan that enables us, without credentials or anything like that, just an IP range, we'll be able to scan that network, be able to identify the OS and applications that are being displayed. As it's a network scan, unauthenticated, so we're looking at the ports, understanding, making that fingerprint, looking at those headers, and making some assumptions of what that OS is, what those applications are. And with that information, we're able to take that to our vulnerability database and provide vulnerabilities based on the information we have. So right away, when you deploy these, you're getting very good information. Not 100%. You still need to validate this information as it's unauthenticated, right? We're looking from the outside and making an educated guesses on what we see. It does need further validation, but it gives you a starting point to quickly identify what you should pay attention to, maybe go after asset that has a higher vulnerability with an authenticated scan, build an authenticated scan, get the details so you know exactly what's going on. And this is going to be big going forward when you need to know what's going on within your environment and quickly getting information. Continuing on that of quickly responding and getting information, we've improved our threat detection response. What do I mean by this? In the past, when new emerging threats come out, we have to build additional capabilities in our product to identify that emerging threat. It took time. It took us a release cycle or additional time to get that done. We've now changed that. Over this past year, you heard us talk about extensibility. This is us really moving forward and being able to quickly respond to emerging threats to make sure your organization is protected. We no longer need to wait for a spot release to get this to us. As these analyzers come in, we can plug them into our automata flow, redesign the pipeline, get the data we need from our sensors, get it to the analyzers, and get the results into the UI in as little time as possible. This could be from, hey, Cisco released a new vulnerability that has an exploit. They have a tool that can identify this. We can now quickly incorporate that tool both into our ends to identify it, and then within our backend to analyze it and bring that vulnerability potential threat into our UI so you can quickly respond to these emerging threats. This is a big thing, and this is one of the things that as a security company, we really take very important, is that we respond quickly to emerging threats to make sure your organizations are protected. Moving on, another one that's been asked for our customers, that this is our first iteration of this. As you know, in our product, we have what we call a baseline. This is on a per asset detail, and what that does is we take that asset, take a snapshot, and make sure going forward it never deviates from that snapshot. If it does, we create an alert and let you know, hey, this is no longer what you expected to be. Something has changed. Are you approve this? Well, that was at a per asset level. We're now expanding this capability to do it at a group level. And what we can do here is we can take a golden standard device that is the device you want to compare to every other device in that group, go through, create a policy all the way down to, on the TPM, which PCRs values should not change. Now, because this is a very detailed policy, there is an expectation that for the first scan or the first couple, it's going to be a little noisy. So we do expect a tuning session to occur with our solutions team to go through and really help develop that policy that really shows what you need to pay attention to. Now, because this is extremely powerful right now and very detailed, it is only available through our APIs for power users. In the coming releases, and I'll get into this a little bit later, we will add this functionality to our UI and make it much easier to use. But this is something a lot of you have been asking for, and now we have it through our APIs, and you can start to use it within 3.8. All right. A lot of our customers, have a lot of compliance needs. CGIS is a new one we've added throughout this year with the controls they've added. We're now supporting 5.9.5 with these controls available. One of the things that is coming in the future releases is the ability to have, not the ability, but have the prioritization of each control as a part of the description. So when you're reviewing this report, CGIS's priority for this control, and you can make and prioritize your work correctly to the compliances you need to hold up to. All right, going on. We are continually expanding our coverage. We are continually trying to identify, get new information, better information into our product. A lot of this goes from the ability to identify things in our product with our sensors, the ability to get new data points from vendors, or just other information points that really help us give you the information to make the best decisions to protect your organization. We've added over the course of 3.8, and it's not a part of 3.8, it's a part of whatever release you have, as it was done through content update, was we added Cisco iOS-XR vulnerabilities. We had a ton of Cisco vulnerabilities before, but Cisco put these in a different spot. So now we actually are incorporating these too. We've added VMware security bulletins. We now, with our have improved the ARM processor identification, especially for Qualcomm and NVIDIA ARMs, along with having a agent that works on those ARM devices. This is Windows only at this time. Linux and server support are coming in the future. We've talked about, we've done Panasonic AFU, the capability to automatically update Panasonic devices. We have actually worked with Panasonic. We are strengthening that partnership. This will be even better here shortly in the future. We have other customers we're talking, or other OEMs we're talking to, that will also improve this data. We're going to look at, you hear ARM will have more of those vulnerabilities. We're going to start adding AMD vulnerabilities as we have these capabilities added to our product. And these will continue on, not as a part of a release, but just the work done during that release. So you'll continually get new vulnerabilities, new information added to our product as we go. Those are the highlights of what we've had in 3.8, 3.7. I'm very excited about this, especially with our abilities now to really respond to emerging threats, and further, as we get down the road to development with this stuff, our ability to meet your unique threats or your unique needs by tailoring our product, like I was talking about with Legos, taking the pieces we already have, reconfiguring them to meet what you need. And this is a very exciting time to be a part of Eclypsium. Now, how are we going to continue this? Going forward, we're going to have our next releases in Q4 of 2024. And next one. Here's where we're targeting for our 3.9 release. Should be at the end of October or shortly after that. We're going to start to support AMD Zen 3, Zen 4 processors. We will have our ARM, Qualcomm, and NVIDIA identification, and after that is done, as I stated previously, we will have the vulnerabilities and security bulletins and other potentially threats added as we identify and build these. And again, when we got these capabilities into our endpoints or our sensors, we don't have to wait for a spot release to add the vulnerabilities or the identification of these. We're going to start looking at hardening. What do I mean by hardening? This means making sure your devices have the most secure configurations, that they are going to meet NIST standards, and then eventually down the road, add them so that you can customize these policies to meet your security standards. So this is our ability to start saying, not only is your firmware came from the vendor, the configuration is supposed to be what you expect it to be. And it is in the best security posture it can be. Then we're going, again, I alluded to this earlier, CGSI, we're going to continue improving those. That we're going to add some prioritization. And then some of the big things we have coming is we're going to still, with the React migration done, with your feedback, we're really going to streamline our UI, really improve those flows, make sure that information is the best it can be, and and you can view it as easily as possible. We're migrating to Kubernetes, and this is to meet a lot of our customers' needs of quickly expanding our capabilities, dealing with influxes of scan results. I did a scan, I have 1,000,000 devices today, and tomorrow I have 5. And allowing our platform the flexibility to really expand and contract as you need those resources. We're going to continue expanding coverage as always. I said this earlier, AMD, Qualcomm, ARM. We're continuing looking at vendors and trying to rapidly add more and more as fast as we can to get better data for you so you have a better understanding of what's going on in your environment. After 3.9, things we're looking at that are early next year, midway through the year, but subject to change. Configuration drift. I talked about group asset drift. Well, the same thing is going to apply to your groups. You're going to have different security standards for different groups and what those configurations should look like. So we're going to start to bring that capability to asset drift, a configuration drift to the groups. We're going to continue, as many of us organizations have VMware within their infrastructure. We're looking at better ways to get to the information we need and provide an understanding of what that security posture are, as those are extremely critical infrastructure to our customers. Some other things, we're going to continually improve our performance of our analyzers. We've talked about this I talked about this with how our threat detection we're responding. We're going to keep continually working on that. We're going to start to, we've talked about this a lot. It's moving up more in priority, LVFS support for Linux devices. We're going to add these compliance reports as we finish CGIS, and then we'll start to add some of these others. We're going to start building out our content update even better so it's faster and it's more granular. You can get data when you need it or as soon as we release it. Really provide you the flexibility to make sure your environment and our product is meeting your needs. And that's what we got going on for the next year. So continuing on, going into, I said next year, but this is the first half. These are things we're going to look at a high level, some of the strategies we're looking at. We've talked about this multiple times over these last year, and I'm not really going to get into a lot of details here, but the, AI servers and accelerators is huge right now. Eclypsium is we've started to really delve into this when we talked about this at the beginning here. We're getting to the point where we're going to start adding the ability to do this coverage and ability to add understanding of what risks these AI servers and accelerator bring to you, not only in the hardware, but about the language itself. You saw with Nmap, we've expanded our ENS product. We've expanded our coverage of scans, and we're going to continue to do that into IoT devices. Our sensors we're looking to bring into one so that not only is it an endpoint or a scanner, you can sit there and look and deploy the sensor to where you need, and it's going to find the right deployment for that device or network. Capability. We're going to continually expanding our capabilities. Continue making sure that we have the ability to meet your needs, make our product more flexible and deployable to your environments or a cloud service. And then usability, always key. This is where your feedback comes into play, is really providing us the information of what you want to see in your product. What do you like? What you see? What don't you like? And then showing the data that is critical for you to make great decisions, such as do you have components, firmware, that's no longer supported by the vendor, or has it been truly end of life and there is no support? You need to upgrade that. Add AI to our capabilities to help make predictions of what is coming up of the future of supply chain. Take EPSS and push that further into the like scenario. Where's the probability of the next attack or the next vulnerability going to be? Let us be more proactive for our customers to accomplish that. So that's kind of where we're going into the future. Now, next, hey, we're going to be out these following conferences. Please come up to our desk, introduce yourself, talk to us, give us your feedback. It's greatly appreciated. It really helps, especially myself, in prioritizing what I need to do next and what do I need, what are your problems that I can solve with my product. One of the things to know is when we're at GovWare, we'll be in Singapore, but IACP, we will actually be with our partner Panasonic in their booth presenting what we're doing with them. So as you can see, there are strong partnerships we're building, and we're really partnering with them by showing up to these conferences together and showing what we are doing. All right, last plug of the day. This is for me and the product team selfishly. We have a customer sponsor program. We really want you to join this. It really helps us. It gives you the ability to help direct the roadmap, provide direct feedback, get early access to information, early access to new features, early access to design proposals, provide your feedback. This does help us make our product even better, and it really will help you understand what our product's doing and gives you the ability to see where the market's going and help direct it to meet emerging threats. If you're interested, please send an email to info@eclypsium.com and we'll get back to you. So that is the end of my presentation. I thank you very much for your time and sitting here through this with me. If you need to get contact with us, please again send email to info@eclypsium.com. And now, Melissa, do we have any questions?
I haven't seen any questions come in, so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's session. Joe, thanks again for presenting. Everybody on here, just to again look for an email from me here in the next day or so with links to the recording and the slides, and I hope to see you on our next webinar. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great day.